you can kind of tell by my walk-up song. It's like all like heavy metal, like Avenged Sevenfold, and I need that. I just like to feel like there's nobody that could beat me.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another edition of Warrior Weekly. I'm Brady Beedon. Alongside me, Kevin Brechmacher. And Breck, we're going to start right with baseball. For baseball and softball, the midweeks were canceled, but baseball had a big series against Grand Valley. Did not start off hot. They end up getting a split. And at the end of everything, you kind of look and go, okay, what did we really learn besides these two teams are fairly similar?
I think that's what you learned. Honestly, these two teams are similar. I have a feeling these two teams are going to play again in the GLIAC tournament at least once or twice, possibly the NCAA tournament as well. Haven't seen Davenport obviously play yet. We know we split with them on the road a week and a half ago. We'll see Saginaw Valley here this weekend. We'll talk about that in the next segment. But for my money, for the lineup depth that Grand Valley has was impressive. We were impressed with that all weekend. The pitching was impressive for them, but I think resilience too for Wayne State. I mean, they fell behind 8-0 right away in the second inning in Game 1 on Thursday. Didn't allow a run by Grand Valley the rest of the game. Obviously lost that game 8-2, but then come back with Gavin Nash in Game 2. Great effort from him in a 3-1 win. You come back after that 3-1 win and your pitching just kind of loses it. You throw a lot of throw a lot of hit by pitches, a lot of walks. Offense really didn't get going, but then Sunday was a completely different story. The offense got going early, so resilience, I think, for Wayne State. I mean, we talked about it on the air Sunday. It was a must-win game for Wayne State, and they got it done to get the split. No blood for either team in the series, and we move on. But Wayne State had to win that game Sunday to stay in the league race. They did. And we'll see what happens going forward because the schedule will get much easier for Wayne State these last three conference series.
First two games, the story was Braden Crow. He had the only RBIs in the first two games by way of a couple of home runs, a one over the monster and left in Game 1, and then a huge 3-run bomb in Game 2 that ended up being the difference maker. A young guy at the bottom of the lineup kind of helped steady what has been at times an inconsistent lineup up top, just trying to get everyone clicking at the same time, and help from a young guy help them get that Game 2 win alongside, you mentioned Gavin Nash, for really the third straight time in GLIAC play, pitched his tail off.
Oh, he pitched his tail off. He went 6th and a third. Couldn't quite finish the game. It got a little prickly there in the 7th inning of that 7-inning game, and the bullpen came in and got it done for Wayne State to close that one out. But yeah, Braden Crow was tough. Hit the homer way over the monster in Game 1 for the only 2 runs, and then that line drive shot to right center. Got the ball up into that jet stream, and it just kept carrying, and that's all Wayne State needed in Game 2. But it's nice to see the bottom of the order. Grand Valley, their bottom of the order was very good as well, but nice to see our bottom of the order come through. Ty Garza on Sunday had a great day from the 8th slot, and you have to have that lineup depth. If you're going to compete for championships, you got to have lineup depth. It can't just be the top, a couple, 3 or 4 guys carrying the load for you offensively. So it was nice to see the bottom of the order. Coach Kelley, he tinkered with the lineup quite a bit. It wasn't a lot of players in and out. It was who was batting in one spot.
Forced.
Yeah, his hand was forced with some injury bug and some guys banged up. But he tinkered with the lineup a little bit. Again, it's so weird because that was the first time we were able to watch Wayne State play at home all season. But in a couple weeks, the season's going to be over. So you don't have that much longer to tinker with things. But you're still tinkering because I don't want to jinx it, but I have a feeling Wayne State knows they're going to play. They're going to play in the postseason, both the GLIAC tournament and the NCAA tournament, with the record they've built and with the resume they have and with the remaining games they have on the schedule. So you're still tinkering at this point, even though you're down to 3 conference series left and 4 weeks before the GLIAC tournament gets underway up there in Utica. So tinker, see what combination is going to work. Because once you get to the postseason, you got to have your lineup set, barring injury. You got to have your pitching lineup set, and I think Wayne State's still doing that. And to come away with 2 wins against a very, 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 very good Grand Valley team was impressive, I thought.
Some of the other guys that stood out, we mentioned injuries. Rhett Rozier actually left the first game of the Friday doubleheader with, or the second game when he came up with a hammy. But before that, in Game 1, he used his face to stop a ball coming down the line. Stayed in the game. Yeah, saved a run in that one. He played well. It didn't show up on the box score, but Bennett Hitzelberger defensively had a couple of great snags over at first that, again, if you were just checking in on the game through box scores, it wouldn't show up. But he had a couple that definitely saved runs and probably stopped rallies from getting started.
Yeah, 2 separate innings, the 5th and the 7th inning, he saved runs just with great stretches and keeping his foot on the base. And a lot of times you say you put your worst defender at first base. That's kind of the old adage in baseball. But, I mean, that might be the case. I'm not saying Ben Hitzelberger is the worst defender on Wayne State, but if he is, that's pretty impressive because he was able to save a couple runs. You need a nimble first baseman over there. Hitzelberger's a big dude, but he can keep his foot on the base. Long stretch in the 7th inning as well when, again, the game was getting prickly. Grand Valley was trying to come back. Impressive effort. Again, the one game Wayne State didn't play well defensively was game 2 on Friday when they got blown out 14-6, and that's why they got blown out 14-6 because it was sloppy, a lot of walks, a lot of hit by pitches, a lot of errors on the defensive side of things, and led to a lot of unearned runs. And you can't, we talked about it on the air, you can't play sloppy baseball against very good teams and expect to win. When Wayne State was clean this weekend, they were impressive. It wasn't clean to start on Thursday with the pitching and some of the mental mistakes they made, but other than that, thought they played a clean weekend series, and that's why they got the split.
Game 4, you mentioned Ty Garza earlier. He had 4, should have had 5. He was robbed of a 5th hit. And Drew Hill actually had a 3-hit day after being a little quiet earlier in the series, including a solo shot that gave the Wayne State a little bit of cushion that in the 9th made a big difference. They're up 3, and 2 guys are on. What would have been the tying run had he not hit the home run, got to 3rd. Made a big difference in that one. And Drew Hill is a guy that I think a lot of people know about at Wayne State, and a guy that needs to, if the Warriors are going to do what they want to do, he's going to be one of the guys that leads the way.
Yeah, he's their number 3 hitter. I think he's entrenched in that spot. Usually your number 3 guy is your best overall hitter on the team, and I believe Drew Hill's that. Came in to the weekend and left the weekend still leading the team in batting average. No doubt about it. But real quick about Game 4, Brady, I don't know if you were going to mention this or not, but Will Lowry started Game 1.
Yes.
He's the ace of the staff. Struggled, gave up all 8 runs.
Had his worst outing of the year.
1+ innings on the mound, but he comes back and gets a 3-inning save in Game 4, kind of bookending the weekend. Because we talked about it was in the mid-50s pitch count-wise after his short effort on Thursday, but he comes out of the bullpen, gets it done, 3-inning save, and just a good way to book in the weekend, I think, and also to give him confidence going forward. I mean, if that's the only time you pitch all weekend, you got to wait around till this Friday, probably against Saginaw Valley, and you're like, you're stewing for 7, 8, 9 days, thinking, man, I didn't put forth my best effort against a good team, kind of let my team down. But he comes back out there, they give him another chance. Arcade puts him on the mound, and he closes down Grand Valley in a tight ball game in the end. Wayne State scored some runs late to give them some insurance, but give Will Lowry a lot of credit. Picked up his first save of the year, and I think that's going to maybe springboard him into this week's start against Saginaw Valley on Friday.
No, absolutely. The Will Lowry we saw on Saturday was the one we've come to expect from him compared to the one we saw on Thursday, which was very uncharacteristic. But you're right. I think obviously great to seal out the win, pitching the 7th, 8th, and 9th, but also for the psyche of the young man to go out there and kind of take it to the team that roughed him up a bit, and he had some control issues in that one. Softball also played Grand Valley. They fell 4-3. Kate DeWitt had a 3-run home run in the loss, and then were shut out 8-0 as, again, the Bats struggled to get going a bit. In Game 1, a 1-run game, had a chance in the 6th when they did plate those couple runs, but Sydney Long only went 3 innings this time as Grand Valley got to her a bit early, and Wayne State is swept by the Lakers. They actually didn't play Purdue Northwest. It was rained out. It is postponed till this weekend, but 0-2 trip out west for the Wayne State softball team.
Yeah, we talked last week about the softball team, watching them a week ago at home, kind of struggle to score runs in a conventional manner, and they score all their runs in 2 games on one swing of the bat. A great job by DeWitt knocking in that 3-run homer, but that's the only time the Warriors scored. So again, a lot of softball to play this week. We'll talk about that in the next segment that we're together with their busy schedule they have coming up this week and all the games they're going to play. Hope they can find some offense because, again, it's going to be tough to beat good teams like Grand Valley. And trust me, Grand Valley, a very good softball team, very good pitching staff, so it's tough to score against them. But you need more than just one swing of the bat to score some runs in a 2-game doubleheader to consistently beat good teams. And again, we talked last week about maybe Wayne State's goal, obviously, to go over there and get a split. They couldn't do that. We didn't know they weren't going to play Purdue Northwest. We were hoping 2 of 4. So now the pressure's on coming this week with all the games they're going to play. They need to get some wins to start building up, padding up some spots in the standings so they can definitely make that GLIAC tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to know a lot more about this softball team this time next week than we do right now. As you listen, you'll know what happened in the doubleheader against Findlay, but still the 3 GLIAC games to be played as of recording. Golf had a good weekend on both the men's and the women's side. The women finished 2nd out of 8 in Cedarville. Sonia Beahaya, finished tied for 4th, shooting a 229. The lowest individual score in 54 holes for Wayne State this season. Clara Lafayette was 7th, and they both shot 73s in their second round, which tied the best round for Wayne State women this year. So a second place finish for the women. The men finished second as well. Grant Ofield, a freshman, was a co-medalist. He finished 4 under par, shot a 209. Again, the lowest Wayne State men's 54-hole score of the season. Josh Lahner finished 5th. Andrew Daly finished tied for 6th. So men's golf it seems like every time we talk about them, it's, hey, they went down to South Carolina, got to win. Finished second. Finished top 4 in this one. They're playing pretty well with the GLIAC tournaments coming up in like 10 days as of recording.
That's hard to believe. They're already getting into the
That
conference
is as
tournament.
quick of a sports season as you'll get.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what. Every time we talk about the men's golf team, and Coach Horn does such a nice job with them. We're reviewing what they did the week before, and it's always a podium finish. It seems like they're always on the podium. Second place finish this weekend. Interesting story of the Belterra course they played at, about halfway between Cincinnati and Louisville, or Louisville, as they like to say down there, right in the Ohio River. I've actually played that course before, and I'll tell you what. I played a lot of golf in my life. I came nowhere close to the scores these guys are shooting this weekend. So shout out to all the Wayne State golfers for doing a great job, and Coach Horn and the women's team as well. Second place finishes for both the men and women. Great job.
Women's tennis had a nice weekend as well. They get a pair of wins, beat UIndy 5-2, and sweep Michigan Tech 7-0. Wayne State won 5 of the 6 double matches, and all top 3 singles players got wins in that one. So Wayne State women, no problem on the tennis court, getting 12 out of a possible 14 points there. Men's tennis, they lose 4-2 to UIndy. They were able to bounce back and get a 7-0 win over Michigan Tech. Men's tennis, they were riding hot early in the season. They've hit a bit of a rough spot here. But nice to finish out the weekend with a dominant win.
Need to play some conference foes to get back in it. That's going to be the easiest part of their schedule. Excuse me, I think nothing against the other teams in the GLIAC, but especially the men's tennis team with the tough schedule they play when they went down south, and then UIndy, obviously, they're a top 20 team as well. Unfortunately, they couldn't get the win there, but you start playing some of these conference teams, it's almost like a breather, which is totally different than a lot of other sports. You get into the conference, that's where the tough games are. But I still think the men's tennis team will be fine. Women's tennis team, great job winning both matches this weekend. But the men's tennis team, again, with the tough schedule they played, again, maybe an easier conference schedule going forward. There are some good teams in the GLIAC, obviously, but not as good as some of the teams they've been playing in the non-conference. I think it'll be a good month of April here for them to get their feet under them heading into postseason play, and I expect them to make a long run this year as well.
And then in track and field, tell me if I've said this before, Emily Gordon set a school record. This one was in the 800-meter run, which was a 7-year-old record, which when the program's, 11 years old? That's a pretty long time for a young program. And then she followed it up by only notching the 5th fastest time ever in the 400-meter dash. And all in all, 8 top 10 marks in program history. The Wayne State women's track and field is continuing to improve and has been very solid. But I feel like we've been talking about Emily Gordon between indoor and outdoor season for the past 3 months.
We have. I actually ran into Coach Lofdahl. I think they're getting maybe ready to leave to go somewhere here. We'll talk about that maybe in the next segment. But on the way in to record today, and he had a big smile on his face. He was happy to say hi. I said, "Hey, nice jobs with your teams last weekend." He was like, "Yeah, we're doing pretty well." So always nice to talk to Coach Lofdahl and hear they're doing some great job on the track.
All right. It will be a busy week ahead, but first, before we get into that, sit down with Wayne State pitcher Gavin Nash to talk baseball and more right here on Warrior Weekly. All right, now we are joined by Wayne State pitcher Gavin Nash. Gavin, first of all, thank you for taking some time to join us. I know baseball is a very hectic schedule. You don't get a lot of downtime once league play starts. So thanks for taking a little bit of time and coming on the show.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for having me.
So first thing I'll ask you about is I talked about this last week. Is I feel like you had some bad luck being overshadowed. Your first GLIAC starts right after a no-hitter.
Right.
So you threw a great game out against Parkside, but everyone's talking about the no-hitter. Next game against Davenport, I mean, you battle and you just lose a pitcher's duel. This week, I feel like you finally got your shine with a great win against Grand Valley. But before those, I mean, what was it? First of all, following up a no-hitter, is there a little extra pressure like, all right, well, I don't know if I'm going to do that, and you still had a good game, but it's following up a no-hitter.
Right, yeah. Yeah, and I was super happy for Will. He's one of my best friends on the team, but yeah, I mean, there was like a little extra pressure. I was trying to do the same thing. Yeah, that was absolutely great to see. And I had the confidence in myself. Like I knew I would be able to like control that game if I was doing like what I'm used to doing, what's me as a pitcher, So there was a little bit of extra pressure, and then once they did get a little like their first hit, I was like, okay.
All right, well, not going to do it today.
Yeah, right.
So, all right, the Grand Valley game this past weekend, it was a big series. I mean,
yeah,
two ranked teams, there's 1,800 polls for D2 baseball, but anywhere from two top 20 teams, whatever, Grand Valley's top 10 in most of them. You dropped game one. It was kind of a deflating loss in game one. You come out in game two, and you even the series up and started in the first inning. We talked about it. Caleb Sanders guns down a guy at home plate, and you had a lot of defensive help in that game.
For sure.
But let's start with Caleb. How much did that flip the momentum? Because I thought that was huge for you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. I think that was one of the biggest moments of the game. I mean, another one came in like the fifth inning after Rhett had gotten hurt, but that play from Sanders was huge. I think it went from they were starting to pick up momentum to completely flip to where we could get our guys back hitting and then like start the game from there.
Right, and you mentioned Rhett at third base. So for those that didn't watch the game, Rhett Rozier, the third baseman, on a ball hit down the line, he wasn't sure if he'd get a glove on it. He jumped up and essentially used his face to stop a ball. Let's walk through that play first because he's at third. He kind of goes backhand to try to get it, hits off his face, goes into foul ground. A guy's going from second to third. So you have to go over and get the ball to make sure he doesn't score. Rhett takes a step to go get the ball, sees you're going to get it, and just goes, okay, fine, I can take a knee, because he got hit pretty well. What was going through your mind on that play? Because you don't have something like that a whole lot.
Yeah, it was a crazy play. I mean, it was a guy on second with 2 outs. Their leadoff hitter's up, who's hitting like almost 500 on the year, and he hits a fastball liner. Rhett jumps up, it hits off his glove, hits him in the face. Everybody's freaking out. The guy on third that came from second didn't know whether to go or not. I was running over to the ball. But yeah, everyone was trying to get me to throw the ball to second too, and I just kind of tried to like get to the ball as fast as I can, obviously, and then kind of just let the play die from there. And then it was all like, obviously, I was just thinking about Rhett, hoping he was okay.
Well, she stayed in the game.
Yes,
which was the crazy part. He had about 4 cotton swabs, balls, whatever you want to call them, in his nose. He stayed in the game. And, you had a long delay after that. And, of course, the ground ball gets hit right to him.
Yeah.
Right after. And you're going, yep, because it was, 5 minutes to check on him.
Yeah.
And then you guys had a mound visit right after that. And then he makes the play, and another great defensive effort. Bennett Hitzelberger somehow stretches across the body, keeps the foot on the bag. Just overall, how much just having a defense behind you like that more often than not can make those plays helped you with your confidence as a pitcher?
Yeah, it feels like I don't have to pitch to strike everybody out. Like getting them to get themselves out and let my defense do what they do behind me is like, it's a great feeling. It makes it's very empowering as a pitcher for sure.
So we were talking before we started recording about, your mentality on the mound, and that's one thing that Coach Kelley, when I asked about, you said is, ultra competitive, and that you echoed it, saying, it doesn't matter. Grand Valley's got a really good lineup, but I think I'm a better pitcher than anybody that steps in the box. What about that mentality has helped you? I hear people describe it as the bulldog mentality. When you're on the mound, how does that help you find success on the bump in a sport where it's not like football where you're running into each other? You're not basketball where you're directly going one-on-one. It's more of a finesse sport. How does that hyper competitiveness help you on the bump?
Yeah, I think it's huge. At least for me, like a lot of guys have their own thing. Like Lowry, for example, he's like very calm, collected. Like you can kind of tell by my walk-up song. It's like all like heavy metal, like Avenged Sevenfold. And
get the blood pumping.
Yeah, exactly. But I need that. I just like to feel like there's nobody that could beat me. Like makes me feel like I can attack anybody and I'll get them out. And when I don't, it's like, okay, you beat me, I got this next guy. And it's really good for me because as a pitcher, I feel like there's a lot of pressure. Like you're responsible for what happens. Basically,
everyone's looking at you all the time.
Exactly. So it helps me feel like I'm in control. Like I can do what I want to do. Like I'm gonna get you out no matter what. Like that's just kind of how I see it, I guess. I don't know.
Well, Wayne State, as a baseball program for a long time now, has been pretty solid, very respected, I think, not just in the GLIAC, but all over the region and across the country. What about this program that Coach Kelley's built? Why are you guys year in and year out so successful? And it feels like, hey, one group of seniors leaves and you go, oh, man, you have X, Y, and Z to replace. And then there's the next class coming in that's ready to take their place. What about the program allows you to be as consistent and successful as you've been?
Yeah, I think a huge part of it is Coach Kelley and the rest of our coaching staff. But Coach Kelley always emphasizes, like, when you get an opportunity, take it. Like, seize your opportunity. Do as much as you can. Like, always push the team forward. Like, no matter what your role is, no matter what position you're in, what position you play, like, always find a way to help the team win. And it's really, like, over the 3 years that I've been here, it's become like I've gotten more of a grasp of it, and it's really cool to see other guys like getting it too, and we're all like pushing in the same direction. So I think that's a huge thing for why it's been like continued success over the years.
What's one of the biggest things you've learned since day one you step on campus to now in your third year that has really clicked, that when you first got here you didn't even know you didn't know this?
Yeah, probably that it's not all about me. Like in high school it was like high school competition isn't the same.
Well, everyone on this team was probably one of the best players on their team.
Yeah, exactly. And I've made the best friends I've ever had on this team, and like I said, like pushing the team forward, like doing whatever you can to help the team win. It's been like a really big thing for me, and I think it's helped me grow as a person, not just as a player.
Well, the other thing that I think is very impressive about this program is, especially now in college athletics, you can get teams that turn over, 40, 50, 60, 70% of their roster in 1 year, where it seems like guys that come to Wayne State, even if they don't play right away, even if they have to, embrace a role that maybe isn't, hey, I'm recruiting you out of high school, you're going to be our Saturday starter year one. They embrace it and they grow into it, and by the time now that they get the ball on that day, they're ready to go. Why is it that guys stick with this program? Is it the friendships you make? Is it just the culture here? Why do people want to stay at Wayne State?
Yeah, I think our team specifically has like a great culture. Like they're all my best friends. There isn't one guy on my team that I'm not like boys with, and yeah, I think the culture is probably like the biggest thing there, and like Coach Kelley, the coaching staff, like I think he's a mentor of men, not just a coach for the game of baseball. So I think that's a huge thing because I can see even the people that I've been with here on the team, like I can see how they're growing too, just like I am.
So, and with Coach Kelley, I know he's not necessarily the biggest players coach. He'll get on you, but everybody you talk to speaks highly of him. How does he find the balance? Because he's not just going to sit there and be your best friend and tell you you're great all the time.
Right.
What's that balance like between, like, hey, you know he's going to get after you, but you know behind that he has your best intentions?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that is like that's in my head about him is that he always puts the team first and the program first. Like, he'll put any of the players before himself, like any day. Like, he drove all the way down from here to Florida with a ton of our equipment and stuff, just him in a van. He got 3 hours of sleep the night before. He stopped like maybe 1 or 2 times just to get gas. And that's just like one example of it. But he's very selfless. He always says like he's born to work. Like, he's always working for the team. He's always making, like, networking more, making new connections, getting more, like, fundraising, getting more donors, working on the field, working on the facilities, anything like that. Like, anything he can do to push the team forward, he's doing.
Well, he certainly has. The alumni network is growing, and part of that is, seeing guys pitch at the next level. And obviously, Hunter Brown is the big example right now. Like,
for sure.
Anthony Bass had a long career in the MLB, and then Hunter Brown shows up and is now the ace of the Astros staff. Having a couple guys like that you can look at that have playing at the highest level, that were in the same locker room that you were in, that are playing on the same field you are, how does that help the program and help you guys say that, like, hey, if we trust the process, we can get to that point?
Yeah, I think it's like a huge thing. I mean, coming in, it was like a very big picture in my mind. Like, it's everybody's dream, just playing baseball, to play in the big leagues, and to see someone who went to the school I'm going to or the school I'm at and did it. It's like a very cool. It says a lot about the program, and it's like it's very cool to see that it's possible, like, as a player. So.
Oh yeah, because I mean, and then some of those guys like Hunter Brown, you'll ask Coach Kelley. He didn't show up and was the best guy, and they stole him somehow from another school. Right. He was a guy that developed here. That as a freshman, you're probably not thinking MLB pitcher, but by the time he's 2-3 years in, you're starting to see the progress he's made.
Yeah, he was. At least from what I've heard, he was actually a catcher when he got here, and then they turned him into a pitcher. He was like 88, 90, 88, 92 or something like that. And then his velo just kept climbing. His off speed just kept getting better. And then he would just, by the time he was done here, he was just dominating the GLIAC. Like,
absolutely.
There's nothing that could stop him.
So one thing that I find interesting about college baseball is, people think baseball, the game of the summer, you have the MLB season's 162 games long, where college baseball is a sprint. Like, once you guys start playing in mid-February, it feels like you blink, and now you're at this point. We're halfway through your GLIAC schedule. The GLIAC tournament's around the corner. From a player's perspective, how is it that you have like 2.5 months, you have like 10 weeks of baseball to play compared to what everyone thinks of? Oh, you have 5-6 months to play it.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Like, I was talking to some of my family at Easter yesterday. They were like, well, it's still early and something. And I'm like, well, we are 30 games to a 50-game season. But, yeah, as quick as it is, it's still like a grind because we're all doing school. We all got to take care of our bodies. We're lifting, practicing, whatever. We've got midweeks, weekend series, traveling, everything. But, yeah, it's crazy because we get here and then we're all like just can't wait for the season to start. We can't wait for the season to start. The season starts, and then it's over. Yeah. And then the whole year's over.
Right. I mean, game 26 was your home opener this year.
Yeah.
Which is nuts. Like, that is, I mean, I know you had a few rained out, but you played half your season before you played one game at home.
Right.
So it just is – I find it interesting how quickly the season goes there. And, you look back, and I know you play a lot down in Florida. What are those trips like where you're playing every single game? That's essentially your spring break, is going down to Florida and playing 7 games in 7 days or whatever it was.
I mean, personally, as a pitcher, like as a starting pitcher, it's the best. Like, I love it. I get to relax until it's my day to go, and then I go, and then I'm relaxing again. But I know it's a grind for all the position guys and all the guys that are playing a lot, like all the relievers. They don't know when they're going to go. But it's like the dream. I love going down there. It's beautiful weather all the time. like perfect pitching conditions.
Oh yeah, you get to you throw your one outing, then it's like, all right, I'll do my recovery work, and you're sitting in the dugout, kind of probably have your seeds or something, and just ready to kick back and enjoy the game.
Exactly.
In the GLIAC, so now with every other year you get to see somewhere. Where's the place you like to pitch the least in the GLIAC around, or it can be maybe a non-league game that you went to. Where does Gavin hate to pitch the most?
I would say probably Purdue Northwest.
Okay.
Just because it's always cold there and it's always windy. It's awful. Like getting the guy we got from Purdue Northwest, he said he hates it too. Like he hated home games while he was there because it's always cold and it's always windy.
Right. So just the weather there is not what it is. And I have to imagine at D2, like you have some very nice facilities like Harwell Field. Great facility. I mean, it's better than a lot of D1 facilities. And I'm sure you get some on the other end as well, and a wide range of different places to go play.
Yeah, and especially like sometimes we'll go travel and then it'll rain. And their field, like you can't use their field anymore. So we got to go 30 minutes away to some other field, and it's like not the best. I think that happened at Findlay last year. Like they were playing at some, I wasn't there, but it was like super cold and the field was like a gravel pit, and it was just,
they found an open field.
Right.
I know Coach Kelley is kind of famous for finding games at the last minute. What's the shortest notice you've ever had for a game since you've been here?
Ooh, probably around 36 hours.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, for like a midweek, and it's at home. We usually aren't like, it'll be like a team that's like not from super far away.
Right,
like
that's a couple hours.
Yeah, like a Hillsdale or a Ohio Dominican or something like that. And yeah, probably about a day and a half.
I think, were you here, I want to say it was 2 or 3 years ago, where there was an unseasonably warm day in February, and it was like February 24th, and Cooper called me the day before. He goes, "Hey, are you busy tomorrow?" I'm like, "No, why?" He goes, "Well, we're playing a baseball game."
Yep.
That might have been as quick as it was.
Yeah, that was Tiffin.
Yeah.
I remember that here. It was like 72 degrees and
randomly
it was beautiful.
And RK was like, "Well, it's warm. I found 2 umpires. We're playing."
Yep.
So he always got to keep you on your toes. Gavin, as we finish this one up, you guys have had a pretty strong year right now. When you guys go into a season and you expect to be good, are you just taking it, a series at a time, or do you guys put the big goal up there of, hey, let's go win the GLIAC, let's put ourselves in a spot to win the GLIAC tournament, to host a regional, to make a run in the postseason, or is it, hey, take it a week at a time, and when we get there, we'll be prepared?
Yeah, I think definitely like starting the season, there's always like that big goal in mind, and we all keep our eyes on it, make sure we're not getting away from that, straying away from that at all. But once it becomes game time, we're all into like every pitch, win every pitch, like be where your feet are. That's another Coach Kelleyism. He really loves to say that. But yeah, I think since I've been here, it's been like a dream to win a GLIAC and go to regional, host a regional, win a regional. So.
Which I feel like the GLIAC and D2 in general in the state of Michigan is kind of an anomaly where, at the D1 level, those teams kind of struggled in the MAC or the Big Ten or the Horizon League. And the D3s struggle when they get out of here. But the GLIAC in the state of Michigan, if you include like Northwood in that, always feels like it's an absolute grind. And there's 3 or 4 teams that could come out every year that are always highly ranked.
Right.
And it's got to be frustrating, like, it's probably fun for you getting to play these high-level competitions basically week in and week out.
Yeah, like back-to-back weeks, we were Davenport and then Grand Valley, and Davenport didn't go have the best start, but they're still a very solid team, and I even had like 5 days rest because this one got moved up and the other one got moved back one. But yeah, it's amazing. I love playing good teams. Like we talked about, I'm really competitive. I want to play the best guys and beat them. So
you can beat the team that's 7-29.
Right.
That you can do that. It's when a team comes in with 1 digit next to their name, number whatever. Those are the teams you like to knock off.
For sure.
All right, Gavin. Well, I really appreciate it. Thanks for coming in, and hopefully we're talking about those GLIAC championships and winning a regional and a super regional and getting to the College World Series. It'd be a lot of fun this spring and summer.
Yes, sir.
Well, Gavin, I appreciate it. Good luck the rest of the year.
Thanks for having me.
All right, let's take a look at everything going on this week in Wayne State athletics. Let's start on the diamond, and let's start with softball because actually very, very busy. 8 total games, 4 doubleheaders, 3 of which are GLIACs. Their midweek was played yesterday against Findlay. You guys know how that happened. We don't, but hopefully a couple of wins over Findlay. And then they get to go make basically the non-Michigan swing of the GLIAC. It just happened to work out conveniently that Purdue Northwest was the game that got rained out because they go to Hammond for Purdue Northwest on Thursday, Chicago for Roosevelt on Friday, and then they play Parkside to finish out that stretch, that game in Parkside actually on Sunday, so they get Saturday off. But still, a lot of time on the road for the softball team. And you said earlier in the show that it's going to rain or it's going to play a big part in making the GLIAC tournament or where in the GLIAC tournament you're going to be. This is a weekend where of the 6 GLIAC games, I think this team needs to win more than they lose if they want to, take that step forward and jockey for position in the GLIAC tournament.
This is a huge chance. Now, hopefully, those games have already been played, like you said. We don't obviously know the result. I'm calling the games tomorrow. We'll see what happens. But hopefully the offense gets going a little bit. Win or lose, just get the bats going. Try to generate some offense, get some momentum going there. But the 3 teams you're playing are 3 teams that, at least theoretically, that you should be able to handle. So like you said, and like I'm going to say here, I would say 4-2 at a minimum for Wayne State. 4 wins, 2 losses would be kind of the goal. You want to try to get 5 or 6, obviously, but at least get 4 to get yourselves back in it. It is quite a trip out there, about 3.5, 4 hours to Hammond. But once you get to Hammond, there's only about 75 miles separating the 3 schools, so it's just a boom, 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 depending on how much traffic it is getting through Chicago to get from Hammond up to Roosevelt and then up to Parkside. I've made that trip, not all 3 at once, but with basketball quite often, and it's really interesting how close all those schools really are without a lot of traffic. So it's going to be good travel for Wayne State after they get out there. Coming home will be a long trip back from Parkside. I've done that, coming back from Parkside back to Detroit after a basketball game. That's not fun, especially with traffic in Chicago, but I think Wayne State, a really good opportunity, but get the bats going. Let's score some runs, get the starting pitching back to where it was a week and a half ago here at home, and we'll see what happens. But a big chance. You're playing 8 games in about 4 or 5 days here, so you're going to have a lot of softball to be played and a lot of softball to be played left in April. You suspect there's good, what do they say? April showers bring May flowers, right? There's a lot of rain scheduled in the forecast this week out there, here. We'll see how that affects things. You might have to change some game times or game days and move them around a little bit, but you just have to be flexible this time of year because the weather, who knows? But again, let's get the bats going. Let's get some wins and get themselves back in the race.
The big one is against Purdue Northwest. They're a game back right now, a 4th in that one. And that them and maybe Ferris, who's 7-5, they've played a couple more games, is the next one. But if you slide down, you're only a game ahead of 7th place. So if you struggle out there, you very quickly could slide down to the cellar of the GLIAC as well.
Yeah, that's why it's such a big swing week, because you win a lot, you're back in the mix for maybe a top 4 spot. If you lose a lot, you're in the mix for maybe being out of the GLIAC tournament altogether. So that's why it's a big weekend. And yeah, Purdue Northwest, a big match, or big 2 games coming up. Ferris State comes to Detroit in a week and a half, so get a chance maybe to pick up some ground on the Bulldogs at Bryce Field and see what happens there. But yeah, let's get some wins. I say 4-2 would be a good measuring stick. Obviously, what happens Tuesday doesn't affect the league standings, but I think get the offense going there and hopefully carry that over to those 6 games this weekend.
Baseball team is hosting Saginaw Valley for a 4-game set. Saginaw Valley right now battling with Wayne State and Davenport. Really, all the teams are kind of clumped in the middle because some games haven't been played because of the bye weeks and the way it's set up. As of recording, Wayne State's actually in 4th at 7-5, Saginaw 6-4, Davenport 7-3, and Grand Valley is 6-2. they had the first weekend off. So a big cluster there. But Wayne State, their final 3 series are Saginaw Valley, Parkside, and Purdue Northwest and Roosevelt. If you can take 3 or 4 from Saginaw Valley, you set yourself up with a chance to go 11-1, 10-2 down the stretch. I think you probably need to go 11-1 or better to have a shot at the GLIAC title. But if you can, especially if you sweep Saginaw, I know that's going to be tough because Saginaw is a solid team. But if you can sweep them, you're going to be putting a lot of pressure on Davenport and GV.
Yeah, again, we record on Monday. It doesn't come out till Wednesday. Today, Monday, as we're recording, Davenport plays Saginaw Valley in a doubleheader. So somebody's going to lose a game or 2 there, whether it's Davenport or Saginaw. So that's going to jumble up the standings. I was kind of, it's funny you said that about the 10-2, 11-1. I was kind of thinking this morning driving into tape, what does Wayne State have to do these last 12 conference games to maybe have a chance to win a league title? And I totally agree. I think 11-1 definitely gets you a chance. 10-2 might, but I think 10-2 at a minimum would also probably lock up maybe a top 2 seed for the Midwest region as well, and that would get you a hosting spot for the sub-regional, the NCAA tournament, so I think that's a good goal there too. Lose any more than that, then you're going to have to maybe have a really good performance in the GLIAC tournament, maybe win the GLIAC tournament to get one of those top couple seeds. We'll see how the rest of the conferences, the GMAC and GLVC, kind of spread out. But that the overall record that Wayne State has is just really impressive. And some of their wins they had in Florida and earlier this season have been very impressive as well. So that's going to carry the resume forward. I still think 10-2 is definitely doable. 11-1, it's always tough. You talk about, well, on paper, this should be a sweep, but it's baseball. It's always tough to win 4 straight games against the same opponent, no matter where you're playing. But is Wayne State good enough to do that? Absolutely. When they play solid baseball, they get the solid pitching, hitting from 1 to 9, and they play good defense and don't give away free passes and hit by pitches left and right like they did in Game 2 on Friday against GV. They definitely can do that. So it's not out of the possibility. It's just going to be tough to do, and that's why they had to win that game on Saturday, that final game of the series. I think I might have said Sunday back in the first segment. It's ingrained in my mind that the last game of the weekend GLIAC series is always on a Sunday. It was on Saturday because of the Easter holiday on Sunday, but that's why it was important to win that game, get yourselves back in it. But yeah, 11-1, I think gets you a share at least. Because Grand Valley, they're not going to go undefeated. They're not going to only lose 1 or 2 games the rest of the way. They have to play Davenport. They have to play Saginaw. They have to play Parkside still. So, they're going to lose some games. It's just Wayne State can't fall any further behind in the loss column.
Yeah, Wayne State, again, they played their toughest part. They played Grand Valley. They played Davenport. Purdue Northwest and Roosevelt right now are combined 3-13 in GLIAC play. Parkside has played 2 tough teams already, so they will rise up the standings a bit. They're better than their 2-6 record, so they have some runway. But the last big test is Saginaw Valley. I think this is one where if you want to be a GLIAC champion, like I said, you have to take at least 3 out of 4. Men's and women's golf are getting their last non-GLIAC championship slate going. The women's golf on Friday is at the Walsh Tiffin Spring Christmas Classic in Ohio. Then their championships will start next week on the 18th. Men's golf goes to Ohio Dominican for match play on Saturday and Sunday. Theirs starts on the 16th. So really the final tune-up for both sides. I expect strong performances from both.
You always know when the calendar is switching over to almost mid-April. It's actually Masters Week for golf. But when you start coming farther north to play your non-league meets, now they're up in Ohio. They were in Kentucky last weekend. Now they're in Ohio. So they were South Carolina a couple weeks ago into Kentucky. Now they're in Ohio. So the weather's getting better. Weather actually down in Ohio, I think this weekend is supposed to be in the 70s. So it should be a good weekend for golf.
Absolutely. And men's and women's tennis actually have their final regular season home matches this weekend. Friday, they take on Purdue Northwest. Saturday is Roosevelt. So men's and women's tennis finish out their home slate. And then women's track and field, they're over to Allendale for the Al Owens invite. That is on Friday and Saturday. So a very busy weekend with every team in action on Friday and Saturday.
Well, it's that time of year. I mean, you're gonna have a lot of home events here at Wayne State with baseball and softball going forward. Tennis this weekend as well, like you just said, and golf. The GLIACs are right around the corner. So it's hard to believe, but this is the second week of April, and you're kind of winding things down for the school year, the regular school year here at Wayne State before the summer classes start, and then winding down the sports season here at Wayne State about a month to go. Hopefully longer for baseball and tennis and softball if they can keep it going. But it's hard to believe that we're in the second week of April, and in about a month it all might be over. So it always goes quick every year, and it's a great time to be a Warrior like always. So come out here to watch these teams play. Baseball had a really good crowd all weekend, even with some of the weather issues we had. Friday was a beautiful day, but Thursday wasn't, Saturday wasn't, and it still had a good crowd. Softball had some great crowds a couple weeks ago. When they come back home next week, let's get some people out here. Come watch these tennis teams play as well. Nothing better than coming out and supporting the Warriors.
Absolutely. Like I said, a very busy weekend. Baseball at home, tennis at home. So plenty of action to come visit. We'll talk about all of that next week. Again, 8 different softball games, big series for baseball, golf finishing up everything before the GLIACs, and I'm assuming there will probably be another track and field record we talk about, because it feels like it has been a weekly occurrence.
The odds are pretty high on that.
Yeah, so we'll talk about all that and more next week. Thank you so much for tuning in. For Kevin Brechmacher, I'm Brady Beedon. You've been listening to Warrior Weekly.